So today I'm going to be sharing with you another watch from my personal collection, and that is the Rolex reference number 16628 Yellow Gold Yacht-Master. I just recently did a collection video where I showed my current collection, and there was several watches I left out, believe it or not. And some people had asked me where it was and where was also my blue sky. Well, the blue sky is long gone, but I'm happy to say that the Yacht-Master is still here. But this watch has an interesting story because the particular one that I have right now never started with this factory mother of pearl with red ruby dial. It initially started as a standard Yacht-Master with the regular white dial with the black indicators, which personally I like myself. The thing is that I've always wanted this dial at that time. The thing about this watch is that retail around that time was $28,000 and some change. The thing about this dial that it added it to a whole nother level, it put it in the 30s. If you follow these Yacht-Masters with these mother of pearl dials, there's two different ones. You're gonna have the sapphire blue ones with the diamonds, and then you have what I call the Mac Daddy with the rubies. They're so hard to find and it's so rare. I would say that this dial alone, loose, is gonna run you anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the character you're dealing with. But it's almost like a unicorn of Yacht-Masters. I always wanted that dial, and the story of this dial is that I actually traded two watches for this dial. The way it goes is I ran into the dial and a friend of mine had it that's a wholesaler. He had also the sapphire blue, but he had this Mac Daddy ruby one. And I said, man, how much you want for that dial? And he looked at me and he said, Eric, listen, this dial, I put it on a watch. Guys, this was 5 years ago. He says, if I put this on a watch, it ups the price big time. You know, realistically, I want $7 grand. I thought at that time, man, $7 grand for a dial, that's a lot. But obsessive as we are with this whole watch thing, I had to have it. So I ended up sacrificing two watches. Now, check this out. One was actually a Corum Bubble skeleton, and the other was a Breitling Chronomat two-tone. You know, at that time, I thought to myself, you know, those watches were worth around $3,500 at that time. So I was doing actually a good deal, and he was doing good as well because those watches were trading still high, so he was able to flip it. But I thought, man, I'm trading two watches for a dial. And I remember, just like on that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or whatever those other shows are, where they actually get a phone call for a lifeline. I remember I called my father up and I said, Dad, I found a ruby MOP dial. And he said, so what's up? So why aren't you buying it? And I said, well, I kind of have to trade two watches for it. I'm not sure I want to give up two watches for a dial. And he said, well, sometimes you got to give something up to gain something. And I thought, you know what, you're right. So I did the deal and I never looked back. And I swear, the minute that I mounted that dial on this watch, it was like completely different watch all around. It just totally changed the look completely. The crazy part about it is that if you look forward to where we are today, right now those watches that I traded are probably under $1,500 a piece. So I actually did a great move by selling it. Another thing about it is that I can tell you right now that I haven't worn this watch in easily 3 to 4 years. I actually brought it out of the safety deposit box because I wanted to capture a picture with all three of my ruby dials on a watch roll. This one, my Day 2, and my GMT with the ruby dial as well. That's how it all started. Then when I saw it, man, let me tell you something. When you don't wear the same watch all the time and you don't wear it often, it almost feels like you first got the watch. As I look at it now, man, something about this watch just made it past that era 2-3 years ago where everything was just Richard Mille and Patek. And right now it almost seems like a fresh breath of air that I haven't seen in a while. It's just something completely different. So go ahead and subscribe to my new YouTube channel and hit that button now. I actually just posted a reel on my Instagram about a week ago, and every single person called me that wants to buy it. And then I gotta give them the awkward, you know, when you're in the watch business and you're a watch dealer, you never want to tell people that something's not for sale. But unfortunately, I had to tell everybody it's not for sale. Since the watch is for me and I plan on keeping it for a while, and I'm not really thinking about the resale, I still want to talk to you guys about prices. These watches have increased dramatically in the last 2 years. Since everything has been rising, it's almost like, for me, this is the last bang for your buck in all gold sports model, without the dial, of course. This is the last bang for your buck. You know, from here on, you gotta go into new style ceramics and you're gonna be in the mid to high 20s, where for a very long time, these watches were in the high teens. Today, you can expect to pay low 20s for something like this. Add the dial and you can figure it out. You're gonna be pretty much almost at 30. So I brought this watch out of the vault and I've been wearing it for about 3 days, and let me tell you something. I'm lucky enough that I get to wear a lot of different watches and get to change them up all the time. Both watches are for sale or watches that are mine. And this watch has actually caused more attention in 3 days that I've had from a watch in a very long time. And I'm so glad during all these moments in the last 4 or 5 years that I never decided to sell it and that I still have it here today. Also, I want to say that I also very, very much like the blue sapphire with the diamond dial as well on the MOP. You know, these MOP dials, they all look different. They all have a different looking grain. It almost looks textured, but when you look at it, it's obviously smooth as glass. So I got lucky on this one because not all of them struck me as much. But this one, sure enough, it had that nice little textured look that you get with that MOP that I like personally the most. Some people will say that the red rubies will kind of give it like a bit of a girly look. I really don't care. As you can see, I haven't even worn this watch in the last 4 years. I just like having it. I know it's special. I know you can't get it. And the person that knows it and understands it will appreciate it. So comment below and tell me what you think about my yellow gold Yacht-Master with the MOP ruby dial. And if you like this video, like and share it. Also, subscribe to my new channel.